So that's the Cliff Notes way.
Okay.
And at the end, you're gonna do everything the same. The only thing before you turn off the power.
Sounds
is
go
to
down.
bring the-
Right. Sound, or you'll get.
You get,
You get up. Probably not that nice. It'll sound like a sonic boom. Yeah, it's not nice. So what is this and this? This is just connectors to the.
one is for data computers and laptops.
I'm gonna come off from that.
All sentient beings, limitless as the sky, take refuge in the glorious, kind Lama Vajradhara, the embodiment of the body, speech, mind, qualities, and activities of the Buddhas, of the 10 directions, and the 3 times, source of the 84,000 categories of the teaching, and Lord of the Sanghas. We take refuge in the kind root Lama and lineage Lamas. We take refuge in the deities of the mandalas of the Idams. We take refuge in all the exalted Buddhas. We take refuge in the perfect Dharma. We take refuge in the excellent order of the Sanghas. We take refuge in all the noble Dhakas, Dainis, and Dharma guardians, possessors of the eye of wisdom. Lama Dhamma Nangla Gyabsu Je Yedai Kyungura Jalaso Nangla Gyabsu Je Asanje Jomden Nangla Gyabsu Je Dambe Chu Nangla Gyabsu Until I attain the heart of enlightenment, I take refuge in all the Buddhas. I take refuge in the Dharma and likewise in the assembly of the Bodhisattvas. As the priest Buddhas embraced the enlightened mind and progressed on the Bodhisattva's path, I too, for the benefit of all sentient beings, give birth to bodhicitta and apply myself to accomplish the stages of the path. In the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha most excellent, I take refuge until enlightenment is reached. By the merit of generosity and other good deeds, may I attain Buddhahood for the sake of all sentient beings. Chanju Paradu Dani Kyabsu dage jenso ki pe sonam May all mother sentient beings, boundless as the sky, have happiness and the causes of happiness. May they be liberated from suffering and the causes of suffering. May they never be separated from the happiness which is free from sorrow. May they rest in equanimity, free from attachment and aversion.
Dong ara dong dong ara ge ju da de wa ju je dong ara me be de wa da me de wa ju je ne re ja da ni da de don yong la de pa.
Refuge of all sentient beings without exception, divine subjugator of terrifying Maras together with their hosts of demons, the one who understands all realities without exception exactly as they are, transcendent conqueror together with your disciples, please come here to this place. At the time of your birth, leader of two-legged beings, taking 7 steps on this great earth, you proclaim, I am supreme in this world. To you who are wise, even then I prostrate. Possessing a body of complete purity, your sublime form is excellent. An ocean of primordial wisdom, you are like a golden mountain, the one whose renown is evident throughout the 3 worlds, protector of supreme attainment. To you I prostrate. To you who are endowed with the supreme marks, whose face is like an immaculate moon, to you, the one with a complexion like gold, I prostrate. A flawless one such as you among the 3 levels of existence is unparalleled, omniscient one, to you I prostrate. Supreme among humans, captain of those to be tamed, the one thus gone who severs the all-binding fetters, who with senses pacified is utterly pacified and skilled in peace. To that one, the one who dwelled at Sravasti, I prostrate. Refuge endowed with great compassion, totally omniscient one who indicates the way, ground basis for oceans of merit and qualities, I prostrate to the one thus gone. The pure cause free from attachments, the virtue that liberates from the lower realms, the altogether supreme ultimate truth, to the pacifying Dharma I prostrate. Having been liberated, they also reveal the path to liberation. Thoroughly respectful of the 3 higher trainings, they are a field of sublime qualities. To the Sangha, I also prostrate. Okay, and then back to page 9.
Namo Nonse Nanda Gyamala Nansi Shishin Sujubamba Ankamsa Yondra Da Zorwanda Ankurwa Dondro Jenjelo Jeye Norva Toge Masan Jame Yawedo Anjembe Yeshe Adan Danye Kadeja Andova Jumze Ramboje Dosemye Jangone Zorwande Jonye Jangande Jenjelo Node Jime Nondande Lode Chogo Dobar Ajenjelo Dende Deshe Yeba Dajomba Yandabara Zobe Sanje Rekpa Dan Shazu Denpa Dewa Shekpa Jekten Genpa Ajebu Duwa Kalo Jowa Lana Mepa Lada Me Namje Dompa Nyame Shai Ke Jabo Shakye Dema Mepa Angowa Ratu Dote Gupe Chansalo Ganye Tso Chotamje Sajen De La Kompa Dunwane Ane Jiten Dena Choche Son Dete Kepa Jela Chansalo Nanda Kuna Choto Chotamwa Yeshe Yatso Serye Lombodra Drapa Jekne Sonda Lamyewa Gombo Jonye Jela Chakselo Senjo Dempa Jeme Dawe Zel Sendo Dwa Jela Chakselo Jure Jure Sepa Sonanze
Nyame Jen Jila Chaksalo Mejo Duwa Kalo Junse Jen Gunjora Jinwe Junse Deshen Jen Wangpo Jizan Yilje Zilake Enyo Shopa De La Chaksalo Doje Chendenpa Antamje Jenpa Tongpa Bo Sonai Yonten Jatsoise Anteje Shekta Chaksalo Tape Doja Dramege Engewe Nyanson Le Droshen Chekta Dundan Chokyopa Ajejo Chola Chaksalo Drone Drue Lamyanton Alapa Dala Rabdege Shinge Dampa Yontenche Egende Layan Chaksalo. And skip to page 15. I prostrate to the youthful Manjusri, to those in the worlds of the 10 directions, however many there are, all the lions among humans who appeared during the 3 times, to all of them without exception, I pay homage with respectful body, speech, and mind. The force of my aspiration prayer for excellent conduct brings all the victorious ones directly to mind. Bowing down with bodies as numerous as atoms in the realms, I prostrate to all the victorious ones. In a single atom there are Buddhas as numerous as atoms, each residing in the midst of their sons and daughters. Like that, I imagine the whole Dharmatatu completely filled with victorious ones. To those with oceans of inexhaustible, praiseworthy qualities, with sounds containing oceans of tones of melodic speech, I express the qualities of all the victorious ones. I praise all the Sugatas. With the finest flowers, the finest garlands, music, ointment, supreme parasols, supreme lamps, and the finest incense, I make offerings to the victorious ones. With the finest cloths, supreme scents, and fine powders equal to Mount Meru, all displayed in supreme and magnificent ways, I make offerings to those victorious ones. With vast and unsurpassable offerings, I venerate all the victorious ones. Through the power of faith, I offer to the victorious ones. Whatever negative actions I have performed with body, speech, and also mind, overpowered by desire, aggression, and stupidity, I confess each and every one of them. I rejoice in everyone's merit, the victorious ones of the 10 directions, the Bodhisattvas, the Pratyeka Buddhas, those in training, those beyond training, and all beings. I request the protectors, the lamps of the worlds of the 10 directions, who passing through the stages of awakening, attain Buddhahood beyond attachment, to turn the unsurpassable Dharma wheel. I supplicate with my palms joined together, those who intend to demonstrate nirvana to remain for kalpas as numerous as atoms in the realms, for the welfare and happiness of all beings. I dedicate whatever slight virtue is accumulated through prostrating, offering, confessing, rejoicing, requesting, and supplicating to enlightenment. Page 16?
Page 40.
14? Okay. Page 14.
du son shepa meye shenge dage malu de da tamje la malu dang aye dang we chage o sambo jube molan to dage gyawa tamje yike musondu Genge dunye lura tupaye Gyawa kunla ratu chakselo Duje tena dunye sanje na Sanje seje unai shupada Dedai chuje yena maluba and Tamje Gyawa Dage Gangwa Mo Dodwa Dagna Pinje Gyatsona Yang Che Dangwa Junso Dokunje Gyawa Kyungye Tamje Dage Do Dewa Tamba Tungwa Tamba Nam dai chu pa tun chu da ma me chu dai du mo tam pa ye ga wa de da ta ni chu pa ye na ja tam pa nam da ye chu da chi me pu me le wa nyam pa da go pe ja pa da pa chu kun ji ga wa de da la yan chu pa ji chu pa ga na na me ya che wa de da ga wa tam che la yan mo Zambo Julai Debye Todage Yawa Kunla Jakse Chopage Dojai Yedan Ningho Gwangene Ludak Daltan Jishin Yikiya Dekla Dage Jepai Chichepa Deda Tamche Dage Soso Sha Chuchi Yawa Kunas Ranja Nandan Todam Meloda Nyadowa Kunje Sonam Kalaya Deda Kunje Jesu Dayera Gana Joje Shikten Drumada Chanchu Rinpa Sanje Machade Gombo Deda Dage Tamjela Kolo Luna Mipa Kowago Nyangen Dadon Danse De La Doa Kula Pinshin De Weje Gabo Shenge Dunye Shobaya Dagi Galmo Rabja Sowaje Chaksa Wadan Chochin Shapada Jesu Yiran Koshin Sowaye Dewa Chunse Dage Chisapa Tamje Sope Chanchu Chemu. And then to page 16. Please turn the wheel of the Dharma of the two vehicles and their combination according to the dispositions and mental capacities of sentient beings.
Namki Sampada Loye Jitawa Chechon Tungmon Tekpagi Choki Kolo Korduso Good morning. Tinida ngato training the jamru ke dombatiniji shiaris.
So then today, Drupon is going to be bestowing the refuge vow.
Hingere tindi indu tine ngato da jamru ke domba de ta ngato karse gore chu nyamlen chea ke chu nyamlen chinke ina tine da jamru domba de ko necessary jamru domba de ke chimbu hyuji chadi yores.
So then perhaps most people know essentially the refuge vow, the vow of going for refuge, is essential to Dharma practitioners. It's what allows one to be a Buddhist and follow the Dharma practice.
남배 추 냠래 집이나 되네 잠루도마 휴구요사레스 좀생 카리스나 지 대중도 저완직된 솜진 공부케 되네 지 남바 인바당 남바 마인베게 다 체반저고지 가리요레스나 되네 공조솜라 되네 잡순도미 차디요스다 공조솜세도 되네 상지 공조 somda 상지 공조도 되네 ngazo다 단단히 게 다 카르바센레 ngazo 카르바 상볼라도 카르바 상보데라 되네 상지 줌된데 다 ngazo 카르바센레인데라 ngazo 줌된데 총벌에 티엔드 디 상지에들라 되네 ngazo다 잡뱅고요레 스탠스 체크 되네 이나양 다 상지 줌된데 ngazo 직다 오스 현재 요 말이 되나요? 다 개체효대 가르스리세나 상지 기초디 말이에요. 뒤에는 다 상지에게 추들라 되네. 잡순도 고고요레스. 뒤에는 대가나 얘기다 즉 상지 좀 된데 로지 가르세거래 다 배제지는 이 통합이었다. 팀인지로와 팀리제글라 되네. 게 줌나치 봐. 지 상지 줌된데 게 송샤비 기 추데
tene chi mene me ma ju chi tene ta tande par yuma chi waro tende chen jun tunge de so chadi yo be sevena tene nga so gendus la budwa ta gendus la mante gide ta practitioner kanda tela nga so ni jap to ko yo des.
So, in general, it is taught that going for refuge is essential to being a Buddhist. And the master Jigten Sungwon, who founded the Drikung tradition 800 years ago, he taught that the difference between whether or not one is a Buddhist or non-Buddhist is whether or not one goes for refuge. Literally, the term in Tibetan is inside the following of the Buddha or outside. So the difference is going for refuge. And so when we go for refuge in what are known as the three jewels. So these are the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. And so going for refuge in the jewel of the Buddha, when we talk about the Buddha, Buddhas are beings that attain enlightenment and appear in certain times, in our case, in the human realm. And so for ourselves, here, we are in what is called a fortunate eon, a fortunate period of time where a Buddha has appeared. And so, for that reason, we have the opportunity to take refuge in the Buddha. And so, then not only do we just take refuge in the Buddha, but the Buddha's teachings are those that we can follow to attain liberation. And so these teachings are known as the Dharma. And so these teachings have been passed down. And so the third source of refuge is the refuge of the Sangha, which in Tibetan is Gendun, which means like virtuous community. And so the Buddha came around 2,500 years ago. And from that time of 2,500 years ago, all the way up until the present, there has been an uninterrupted stream of the Dharma teachings that has been passed down. And so these practitioners and caretakers of these Dharma teachings and this tradition are known as the Sangha, the virtuous community. And so for this reason, we take refuge in the three jewels, the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha.
오다 디가나지 기양 카르세고레 땅가 조디 남바치 랍디테네 지 카르세고레 통다 야보 지 섬노 땅비나 테네 산제케 테네 추테야 tezongbaré tene 토마게와 타마게와 tene 통상보 제베상보 송보라와 티인디티네 티인디티네 진직텐디케 나나라도 위미네야 지 대진 종토바 디가나 이게 지금 디게 윤투네 냠란치와라 때네 타토양 고제와 치말라고 요나레 타토양 산제 코모토로야와다 디네지 용구요레스.
So thus for ourselves, as Buddhist practitioners, this is something that we should think about well. And when we think about it, the Buddha and the Dharma teachings are something that are really virtuous throughout. They're virtuous in the beginning, they're virtuous in the end. They contain a wonderful meaning, and the fruition of the Buddhist teachings and practice is also excellent. And so in this world, the Buddha and the Buddhist teachings provide an opportunity for us to experience happiness in this life and future lifetimes continuously, and then ultimately they're what allows us to attain the state of Buddhahood.
어디 인도 티가 나기다 야 점로 domba 슈구랑 삼랭가 좋다 상도 삼그로 오다가 넘바라 제바레스타 넘비 니 파마니 넘바레 넘바 제바레도 근데 좀 가능하고 영국의 dom바디 아주 대중으로와 당복군용 대 궁롱라 때에다 나티 점로도 뭐 휴기 zam바다 드니제 토네 다 점로도 뭐 당이 콘티브나 이래 점내 콘쇼좀 잡스 마송미나요 되네 지 오토매틱리 뭐 차노라 예서 말이스 대가 나기게 양아 남베게 지 탭 소디스 로비 야타 곰로디스 잡인도 라비나요 고 넘바 딱 오텐틱 카세도 넘바 차에서 말이스.
So, when we talk about refuge and the refuge vows, there's something that really needs to be requested. And so, some people might think, like in other spiritual traditions, that if we are born into a Buddhist family, then like the children are Buddhist. This is not the case. This is not how becoming a Buddhist works. Instead, the refuge vow is something that we have to sincerely take. Going for refuge is something that we need to actually have the motivation to engage in, and then we need to do it. And so if we haven't established this firm intention to go for refuge, then we don't just automatically become a Buddhist. And so some people might think, well, I read some Buddhist books and I did some meditation, so I'm kind of Buddhist. Ultimately, though, the act of going for refuge, if we have this sincere intention and we engage in it, then that is what allows us to be part of the Buddhist following formally.
어디가 나기다 된다 다주 갈세난 가서 다 망보지에 기탄다야 지 갈세가 템바 세나리다 mindfulness 근데 공부여러와 리티네 양고다 단다 직점로 domba 휴네 ngaso 지 소체효데 남바상지 다 민고로 마송데 샘게 주들라 네 샘게 꾸노들라 라레 거레스 티인도 다테마서 비키 곰치부 자비나야 코지 네캅 temporarily this 코 뇽몬바 토송고 노야다 코지 네캅 this 지 카르세고다 지 남토케 원트 만도와 지 this 루세니 보로지 용괴기 지리 티나야 코 차첸 곰자가 되다 야보레 mindfulness 야보레 이내야 디토라 나도다 그 차첸직 창국으로 와 근데 차첸의 가르창고서나 즉 상지께 송샤비께 되네 태양 시인 송샤야디 상지께 송으로 와 디순겐 텔라 되네 나도지 잡순로야 왔다 양순겐 텔라 대바당 이지치고야지 차디요레 계시 때미비나 즉 템바 희지고게 곧 내가 마도 팽게 말이 그가나 이게 즉 단다 공투나 이래 가서 점로 점로들라 수렴직이 와 현저워지 파운데이션 마이테 가르나 수렴이 말이야 와 디인도 수렴지 미비나야 즉 구농당 수렴당 데니제 미비나 고 내가 단다지 곰로 디스타 등성 mindfulness 망보 공구여와 이나 티키코 맞아 테리데 즉 내가 대 단다 자제 전부 나한테 송대 내가 남도 가샤원다 오지 히라 팽이 말이 정도와 배나 출라 타르차다 그 정도와 출라 타르차 아지리 하고 송 출라 타르차나 그 내가 뭐 지금 말와 가르스나 그 작화차디 여러와 이내 약고 계시 작화 휴비나 약초 뭐 지그러와 어떤 남도 가샤죠 지구에 마도 베게 틴디게 팬톡 말했어. 군이 감독 마도 전부를.
So, these days there are, it's very popular all over these traditions of being mindful and having awareness and so forth. Yet, we should understand that going for refuge, requesting the refuge vows, is really deeper than that. There's a deeper motivation. And so, if we do meditation and we practice, for example, popular traditions of mindfulness and that type of thing, they might, have some temporary benefit. They can help become pacified, and our body and our mind might become relaxed. However, the mindfulness teachings of the Buddha, they're part of something deeper. And in the Buddhist tradition, if we don't have faith and devotion and confidence in the Buddha who taught the tradition of mindfulness, then we're kind of missing a very deeper aspect of meditation. And so when we don't really have faith and devotion in the Buddhist tradition and kind of seek the deeper meaning there, then we might experience some temporary benefit. But for example, in the tradition of going for refuge, when we go for refuge, there is discipline. And this discipline, this is part of the foundation of what we establish as part of our motivation for eventually attaining enlightenment. And so if we don't have this kind of like deeper basis and foundation, again, we might be able to, practice one of these popular traditions of mindfulness and meditation, and it might have some benefit. For example, if our afflictive emotions are, and our discursive thoughts are like, turbulent water, if we freeze the water, then, we are like free temporarily from the disturbances of our afflictive emotions and our discursive thoughts. However, in the situation with water, if we freeze water, it's only temporarily ice. And so once the ice melts, then we get the water of our discursive thoughts and afflictive emotions again. So there's a difference between just temporary meditation and mindfulness traditions and the deeper kind of practice of going for refuge.
That's specific 카르세거래 땅 아주 점주 domba hyu zungdu tini jigyang 대ting기 여러와 지 오당 점루 domba hyu ne 지 ngeme ke 카르세다 지 believe scenario background religious 텔레 제바 칸요 말이스 카르세나 텔레코 지 이제당 대바 카리는 제초부요레스 디인두티네 지 베나 넘바치네 티네 지 ngeme ke believe 텔레 against 지고야 칸요 말이스
And so furthermore, when you request the vows of going for refuge, it is, generally acceptable to, if you practice and have a background of another virtuous spiritual tradition, it's not contradictory to go for refuge in Buddhism. there's no contradiction there.
오다 대가 나 예더니 다 가서 점로 단기 공슈가 나 예래 다 점로 넘버 휴비 깝라 가르고 요레스 라비나 되네 단기 공슈가 나 예래 점로 게더니 다 휴세케다 유들라 다네 상제래 되네 상제케 송협이 추 대냠년 징게데 겐두리 휴버와 다대 유들이 다 가서 강사 소소문에 가르고 요레스 라비나 꿀롱 고요래 꿀롱 태양 간데지레 라비나 테네직 단계에다 잠로 동바 휴비스 태양 테네직 가르세거다 네캅 게 테네 텐디 베다 센터당 직다 베트소 퉁퉁 텐디 마인바 텐디드네 제 가르세거래 테네 상 맞이지 받을 때네 맞이로 넘버 휴긴 점보다 두기 점보 당비는 양래 대나이 양다 믹스기 꿀롱 태양 되네 꿀롱 센날에 다 와테다 뒤로와 뒤틀라 되네 휴긴 점바지 고요레스
So then, when we are taking the refuge, then first there are the objects that we take refuge in. And so these objects are the Buddha, the Dharma teachings, and the virtuous community of the Sangha. And so with these objects of refuge, we take refuge. These are the sources of refuge. And so then furthermore, our motivation in terms of time frame when we take refuge should be that we are taking refuge from now, and temporarily we take refuge in this life, but not just that. When we take refuge, we should make the aspiration that we take refuge from now throughout all our lifetimes until we attain complete enlightenment. And so that's the time frame that we are taking refuge.
어디가 나기다 꿀롱 태양 되네 즉 라지부게 되네 치트 마인바 되네 semchen 탐지게 통을 치기 잠바 와다 텐디제 거네 되네 꿀롱 텐디 고요사레스.
So then furthermore, when we take refuge, we should make the aspiration or have the intention that we are not just taking refuge for ourselves and our own selfish motivations, but we are taking refuge for ourselves and all sentient beings throughout the entire universe for their benefit as well.
어떻게 됐네 대가 나이다 가서디 직접로 domba 휴네 다 가르치고레스 지도 되네 다 가르세나 가서 직탱기 미초당 되네 담배기 하주 송거래 되네 딘인자기 투대바데 가르치고 그러시나 다 가서 데려와다 가르쳐 그래 가서 자와 해당 되네 영아 제기 있어야지 이거래스.
So then, when we go for refuge, then what should we do? What is, what are we doing? And so we should adopt what are called the virtuous kind of dharmas of humans and the virtuous dharmas of gods. And these Dharma teachings include essentially 4 root vows and 1 branch vow.
담배 하주세나 베지지나 담배 하주로 spiritual part la like somebody 직템이 주세는 다 직템이 나와 인다 제법면도 대인이다 직템이 주로 라비나 직템이 주로 송국으로 배는 직템이 주로 위나 나서다 어레다 담보티 텔라고서 다 자와히디 가르스나 다디 제감들이 자와히요로 테레스네 이나티 다 가르쳐도 라세야 놓더레스.
So first, for the 4 root vows and the 1 branch vow, these are not, the 4 root vows are not killing, not stealing, not engaging in sexual misconduct, and the 4th is not lying. And then the 5th, the branch vow, is to not become intoxicated.
다디 자와 해당 연락 제디 그 지템 나 섬도 당비나야 다가 조금마지야 그 템토 그러와 되네 지 먼저 세야라 소와 치비나 되네 템토 그러와 뒤니고 지템 강이나야 기기요래 뒤기 대 치비 좀 센터를 되네 그 지템 디키나 전지 보야라 소와 지보용 그러와 쟁트리다 니인데 걸서나 담배를 하주 손에다 담배를 하주디 개체모 휴래 다 지 타로 탐지 쳔베 콤파운드 로버 치벌라 다 원에 단다 아직 자와 셰한 연라 찍들라 다 토디요래 텐디 담보 쳔로 담바 지디 자와 셰한 테네 연라 선조요래 다 테네 손디 지 테네야 소소터비케 dombena는 거 섬노담이나다 테네지 나도다 폴리 마도테리다 게츠세요 게냐세요 테네 게노세요 테네 쉬어요 이나양 거 자와 톡서디 다디 그 이나 충충리 힘바도 이나양 거다 내가 톡서디 티가 차리요레스 더는 이게 야라다 어쩌나 라나미 원도이나 그때 차디요레스 담비 추쇼도 좀 담비나
And so these 5 vows, and especially the 4 root vows, even in the worldly context, we can't just go around and steal things from other people. It's against the law. You can get in trouble if you steal from other people. And you can't just go around and kill people. That's murder, and you also get in trouble. And so these vows are not something, that really is even, outside the context of worldly activities of virtue. But here, in particular, they are also part of the divine Dharma instructions that are sublime and allow us to accomplish the omniscient state of Buddhahood. And so when we engage in these 4 root vows, when we uphold these 4 root vows and the branch vow, then, and we go for refuge, in Buddhism, there are these different stages of kind of ordination. And so anyone who takes these vows is ordained as a lay practitioner, like a non-celibate practitioner. But then there are other levels of vows. There are the vows of the novice ordained person or the fully ordained person. And essentially, though, even though with the novice and the fully ordained people, there are more stages of vows, ultimately, the essence of the vows is really contained within these 4 root vows and the 5th branch vow. And these are also something that are, to be practiced even in the higher stages of doing the secret mantra practice, the unsurpassed traditions of secret mantra. all the Dharma traditions hold these root refuge vows as part of the basis.
티인도 다 드링 티인도 땅에서 넘바 흉행고네 다 티가테 칸데스리스와 티가텔량 티네지 가서가 땅에서 the break 로와 넘바 다 효르세나리 냠세나리 오다 티 칸데리스 and 시제 쇼기 인스티스 다 제치리 다 저랑서 hingyuji 이나양 단다디 다 휴야디 칼 휴비나 다 넘바 단다 흉해지 볼을 라그메 땅가서 참마 전부 넘바 휴요로와 이나 제치나 야고 hingyu지레 양 제치나 다그 hingyu나 땡규로와 되니 희기미미나 고 양초디스 에리아로 라그로와 되니 텔티스 디텐로지 쇼기스
So then, for the people that are taking the refuge vows, and then, other people as well, we might wonder, well, then what happens if we break these vows? And so maybe a lot of people kind of know this and have heard these things before. Maybe people don't know this that well. Maybe people have heard these things before, but it's something that we should, maybe remember, try to really remember. And so, for that reason, Jupon's going to give some detail.
다티니 당보디 땅가서 소메 추바 송로와 다소 지상가서 소줘야디 간디지 기조구요래 라위나 직배나 티니 해당고네 맞아 추바지암네 소줘야 당 대가나 이게 직다 티네다 망치지 당가서 노자 그때는 소줘요로와 직 샤당 라소 베케테네 샤당 빠빠당 로바당다 티니고네 소줘요로와 테리 대가나 이게 양 저다 때먹고는 소줘바지양 삼상가서 직 하리아 초기람네 semjezo 제교로와 다 더서 직고다 숭견로지 지나 되는 거죠 직 해당고네 소마지야 타피치야 로와 노자고네 직 소마지야 타피치야 되네 때모고네 다 소마지위 타피치야 돼 레스
So, for example, with the first vow, there is the vow to not kill or take the life, sever the life force of others. And so, generally, if we look at the act of killing through the perspective of different afflictive emotions, sometimes people kill out of anger. For instance, they get angry at somebody and then they fight and then they kill someone. Or sometimes people kill out of desire. And we can see this in the example of how people sometimes kill animals for their meat because they desire the meat. Or they kill to get leather, or some things made of like bone or ivory, or that type of thing. That can be killing out of desire. And then sometimes we can kill others out of ignorance. We don't mean to kill others, but because we are not aware of what we're doing, we end up killing others. And so, to guard against killing through these different means of, kind of different ways of afflictive emotions, we can establish kind of methods so that we don't kill others out of anger. We can establish methods so we don't kill out of desire, so we don't kill out of ignorance.
다 ignorance 된다 그러와. 단단가 저 animal sacrifice 하는 모르겠.
Ignorance, for example, one way that some people in some traditions engage in this is that they do animal sacrifice is a thing, and they think that's beneficial, but they end up killing.
티인디티네 다 테레다 딜라 다 하고송가 다 소쪽메 랍두 테레 이네 양다 nga samu tangro ho da nga khelang bare khesinya khan jikta pen cha shana ko tamchan ro ji hyugri dina yang samsa nga zo le lo yo marwa tamchan linge gro tiinde da nga zo ji tanda domba hyune 다 domba nyam sla gro 텐더 오사노 당다 하고 그래 간디스 냠 그래 다 저런 변나 저런가 소쪽된 담자 치요나 근데 저런 간디 치네 리밋 요르와 소치바 잠지 담장기기요 말이 보다 대세우지 휴인스
So then we kind of understand then here that, this, the act of killing, for example. So we take these vows and we say, okay, I am not going to kill. But then, what happens if we do? What happens if we, lose that vow? And how do we lose that vow? And so, for example, if we take the vow, and we take the vow not to take the life force of others, and we kill, or, we take the life, do we lose the vow automatically at that moment? Not necessarily.
다 대양 빼나 차샤이나 계시 소쪽이메 라비나 소제야디 나서다 직 돈돈다고 당 텐디 소지와들라 차기요 말이 신체민이 먹고요레스
Mo?
메로와
Migo. So for the full loss of the vow of not killing, in this context, it can be said that one does not fully lose the vow if one kills an animal. To fully lose the vow, then it needs to be that one killed a human.
제가 나이 양지고 the human 이나야 accidentally 너위나 창기요 말이 스텔량 되게 당가서 대정도 유시 창고요레스.
So then, also, sometimes we kill out of accident. And so if you kill someone, a human, out of accident, then you don't also lose the vow. The four causes of an action need to all be in place.
뒤에다 particular다 등산로에는 가서다 accident에다 즉 항상야게 가서다 희귀어로와 뒤에 다 텔레카르고기어레 슬라비나 되네 대보기어레스테 히스 삼바 유르반 타투 숨루다 베나 히에텔라 당부다 마 히창고와 히에다 칸리스 창고레 슬라비나 되네 가서 당보 갈세나 데리다 군롱 로아 군롱 그거네 당연히 메텔 세기 삼바지 군롱지 고기요래 이양면에 텐데 라운드를 다시 보면도 되네 대가 나이게 다유 겨 강사 맨데 세기 삼다 네 다코나데 다 메테 세기 세야지 고그로와 되네 다 디 토라 다디 기 굴롱소 셈당 소야 금무 뜻이 되나 맞어디 가르스나 교르와 락래 텔라 가르스나 당보디 다 세지 유드고 만어와지 고고 그래와 메테가랑 세바지 아 디토라 다 세네 다 나서지 가르스고 데려와 고 액션 되네 다 딜레 만어와 세 차베 예라 되네 왔다 녀베 다 렉송 선반도 세 차네 되네 베지 가르스고 리조세 땅에 통다던 롭송 선바 왔다 되네지 참미나 되네 딱 가르스고 가서다 다 너무 휴대 같은 게세나리 다 간다 참로 그랬어 왔다 디 휴글라 나가디 이 배차들 레송도 배차들 밑에 배차들 디프는 아이도 좀 루크 넘베 배차지 여러분 되는 게 디슬랍션 되네 다 디슈글라 테레스네 맞다 단어 소주 벌어와 되네 제가 너희다 디슈글라 준리스 다 준도 위임비나야 다 지금 가서 제가 준 첨보당 준 충무당 되네 미초라 메키 준세야 되네 요레스 얘네야 다 조 가르스나 준티 예다준 베네 준 첨보 될라야 지 현라 베네 가르스고다 노바타야 랑라 캡상용야 텐디제게 되네 지 당보네 그 준라바 될라야 준틀라고 당기 콘큐바나 예레 지 차진도 오지 삼바 주르와 타토 텐디제 그거 베다 가서도 가르와 준라비 하틀라 태국도 고 가르세고다 preparation 도 체네다 간다 planning 기 준도 위나 되네 에다 되게 말이스 좀 책들 칼리 칼라 는 피체지
Oh. So then, when it comes to killing, for example, as Jupon mentioned, we don't lose our vow if we, sometimes it can happen that there's accidents and we accidentally kill someone. Obviously, we want to avoid that and so forth, but sometimes these things happen. In such a context, we would not lose our vow of not killing. When we talk about the vows of, establishing these kind of resolves not to engage in killing, stealing, lying, sexual misconduct, and also intoxication, then there are 4 factors that create a full experience of these negative actions. And so, for example, if we are talking about killing, so then there are 4 factors that make the act of killing complete, the negative action of killing complete. And so first, for example, then we need an object that we want to kill. So if we are angry at somebody and we think, oh, this person is my enemy, I'm going to kill my foe, my enemy. And we think, okay, that guy over there that I hate, that is my enemy. First is having the particular object. Second is to not make any mistake and to, sometimes we move on to our enemy and we accidentally kill somebody else. So the second is to be like, nope, not you, but you, my enemy, I'm going to kill you. And we know for sure, and we line it all up. And then third is the act of how we actually kill them. So whatever means we are using, we kill them. And so then fourth, even all these things might be complete. But if we don't think, ooh, good, I killed them, and rejoice, then the act of killing isn't fully complete. The negative action of killing isn't fully complete. But if we, enemy, we don't make a mistake, and we go through with it, and then we think, oh, good, I killed my enemy, then our negative action of killing is complete, and we have lost that vow that we took. And so, furthermore, this is the same, for example, for these other negative things that we take a vow against not doing, or we vow not to do. So for lying, when we lie, there are, great lies, there are small lies, and there are kind of like, almost inconsequential lies where we're being almost like sarcastic and so forth. Here we are talking about great lies. And in particular, there are lies that we can tell that cause others harm, and lies by which we derive benefit, and they increase our, we're getting something out of it. And so in particular, these are the worst, the greatest types of lies. And so in particular, when we engage in a full lie, then there's the person that we are lying to, that we are trying to deceive. Then we are kind of, making the lie without any error. Because sometimes we might accidentally deceive somebody and not mean to. Here, this is when we clearly want to deceive this person, and we prepare and we set the table for the lie, and then we engage in the lie, and then the person is deceived, and then we rejoice. And if we go through all those elaborate stages of that kind of lie, then this is a complete negative action, and then we lose our vow. And so Drupal said to keep talking as he's finding a reference for the refuge vow. And so, does this make sense? Oh? No. Pace. 우리를 하고 있어. pace. 그런 가발 아이패드라고 여름에.
They only need this repeat. Other than that, okay.
The
Project
Ina?
do it.
Oh yeah, the Kenyan.
Okay. Left maybe.
Okay.
that in the that and the tanga to terwa zoom michula me zoomwa ta tambo de la me benakuma ajaya ndo yin bi na yan ko ta ni yung ge tanga zo kuma ya de la de hin do hyu bi na de hyung do tene ji ta ting zang do wen ra ba la go be cha wan do jam ne kon do ga che thang tiga na yi ke ta kuma ya de la thi gong go de jamu kuma ja ta ka khale mu ha ma go ba chin kuma ja yo ro wa tene yo des tene nga so yo ju kuma ja bas です。
So tambo the
田んぼでこう茶葉の頃は、
rubber trouble.
テレにばでジャンボだわ、ジャンボ。たがそここうやチンコまじゃるわ。
Someone actually.
もうさまち。
Uh-huh.
でね、たそんばでら、まそこまじゃらてカラボルスな。ゆじゅごぱため。
Yota. Uh-huh. So then, for stealing, taking what is not given, in general, we can divide stealing into 3 different categories. So one is to kind of steal directly, to, like an armed robbery or banditry where you just go up and people see you and you're like, I'm taking this. And they're like, really? And you're like, yep, I'm taking it. And so you steal directly. And so people see it. So robbers, thieves, bandits, but like direct stealing. 2 is stealing secretly. So this is when other people might not see it, but one way or another, maybe through other kinds of deceitful means, we quietly steal. And then the 3rd type of stealing is stealing through deceptive techniques where we commit like fraud or something, or we kind of, deceive somebody into, doing something where we end up stealing from them.
So I don't know. So I have questions. Which is dangerous? Is the 3 different types of the stealing? 그 가르치는 갈리 가르쳐 용사레스 단데스 뒤둘라.
So these days, what's the most dangerous way to steal? What's the most dangerous way to steal? Out of the 3, so there's direct theft, secret theft, and deceptive or fraudulent theft. How big is the guy? Do they have a gun?
Okay, good question actually. There are limit, how big, okay? But so which is the worst?
I think the deceptive, the fraud, because, stealing a car is just like one object. But when you steal, you can wipe off someone's, patrimony and leave them on the street without even knowing. Or you can take their check. People that hack into your account, and they don't care. They just swipe up the money, whatever, and people will be able to survive. I think that's terrible.
Okay, that's true.
Or
I
like
think that,
business, like in business, they could hack into a bank and steal millions of dollars, and then it affects many, many people. Or government leaders do that one.
Or even steal your identity.
Right.
Yeah.
But okay, I think still I believe it's more than that still. More.
You have to lie to be deceptive, so that's another value breaking.
Right. Lisa.
Hi, Drupan. I'm just wondering, there seems to be a fine line between something that is secretive and something that is deceptive. because I feel like you can be secretive while you're being deceptive. So maybe it's a combination of all of these things, because people who steal identities and do all these other things through computer and internet, they're doing it secretly in some cases, and they're doing it deceptively.
All right, okay, good question. Yeah. 이나 다 지랑 사고로 와 단다지 담보데 다 요대 역으로 와 자반하고 근데 요리티나 할레베 기타고 지 람반다고 근데 요마로 뭐 휴지 유지 말와 배나 자반하고 근데 고마지야 요대 역으로 와 그 가와이나 요스기로 와이 대가 나기 게다 잠부 고마지야 세야테 단다 뭐 리자 라바 나기 잠부 고마지야는 physically 마오와 inside is yina yang ta the deception go ko ta ya di rida ko jamu ha ma go wa in the core category ka chi go yu sa sa dos mora la ma chi pa no yu chi sa de la so yina yang ta ko yina yang ta da de category ma jamu ko ma ya da physically ko ma ya ma to ni chi in the correlated using
So, yeah, it's kind of interesting these days. So, we still have like direct theft and robbery, like a mugging, where somebody holds you up and they're like, "I'm taking your money." You're like, "Really?" They're like, "Yep." And so that happens all over the place still. And then the kind of quiet theft, is interesting. In the Tibetan, it refers to physically taking something. So it's like cat burglary. So like in the middle of the night, somebody comes in the window, you don't see them, you don't hear them, but they take all your stuff. So they still physically take. These days, we have quiet, where people straight up take things from people, but it's like online theft. So it's kind of like not exactly physical, but they can still like take your stuff. So maybe we need a new category. So the Tibetan, the first is direct physical taking where people know. The second is physically taking where people don't know. And then maybe we have like a subcategory where people take, kind of modern things online or something.
대인이다 first second 배 용이 사 삼고도스 당보다 니파니 배 배제 용용으로 와 근데
드링송.
등상하 얘네야다 원내 삼노 땅 미나다 단다 고과 땅야 되다 배나 항상야 먹으러 와
요타.
샤샤이나 대삼당다 단다 다 business 다 advertisement 참 고과 땅 와 항상야 population 와
So while we do have, direct theft and quiet robbery, still occurs, obviously, it's relatively small compared to the third type of theft, which is fraud and deception. This is because these days, if we look, like practically almost all businesses, when they advertise, they are engaging in some type of deception. So, like, theft through deception is rampant all over the place.
That deception, you just say at here, you just say at the Karsana, Tambote Karsan, Chorangi took Gray love your work. Chorana kept on your love your in a Tonda, Shore. In that business, business can be in a Chorangi to the Chorangi Ragre, Choraya Boyore, Choranchi to the Labuyore, in a Tonda, Kota, they shall land of your work.
So the theft here, the deception is that when people advertise, they say, oh, if you get this product or something, you will get this, wonderful thing will happen to you. You will get these accomplishments, all these things will, amazing things will happen in your life. Just buy this thing. And so then they get you to give them the money, and then you give them the money, and then you don't get any of those things. And so there's the deception, there's the fraud.
I think this looks like everywhere, right? So this telling to us like seems too nice, or you'll get this, you'll benefit this, you'll get this. But actually they take the money, So before, I think last week, we were talking about even though like the chance, order people, this, or you do this, you can application this, you can benefit this, and that. That is actually this lot, almost everywhere. Tini that so that is going as a chetando logo. That. Ina yada tananga so the that in the wimbina, chick tangu consuana yeda, Kumaja aladu, Chetan, chick Kumaja tela, Kumaja sumwa, chick Zimba. Rimban the Nijiri, Lavayana, which you vina. Kumaja, that this lick up a conflict, Yamata Kashapani love, Kashapani Hijabu. That to do Kashapani Senator Watanangati, consuming Yudua. To pay out that another one, pepper money. In a tea out that and the drumbus do a drum half a day. Or in drumbo do a drumbo.
The bullshit.
No, the conch, small conch, tiny ones.
Or the shell trouble?
Yeah, shell, decoration, this drama, right? Drama.
Mm-hmm.
But that Yamada Sanji Gabina, Tendo Shikuna, Mari 1/4 Guna. Ti one pale manque da corsene. Guna te ta choro come chalo es la budwa. Ina yanda telen gashi la na $25 la budo ina ka ko mo da kanina. Dan tena ko ti ka la mani khandi tsigo thanda ka corsene ti. Chira ha ko mo ina ko tis ko ji penny je kuma ja ban ro in samaris.
Any money? Trouble. So Muma Kashapani the shell chick.
Shell chick, Hija, quarter guna.
Shoki sheepsha.
Hija.
Uh-huh.
Quarter guna, quarter guna. Tinichon commando channel de la doina that he quarter the Kasi Hakundo.
But it turning sonky quarter trouble,
Tell it the mines are the dollar the quarter line, 20%.
Uh-huh.
Tell the mines.
The dollar check trouble, come again.
It's $25 maybe.
$25. Uh-huh. So, in the time of the Buddha, then if you stole, they had these, one of the currencies was this particular type of shell called a Kashapani?
Yeah.
Kashapani shell.
Kind of fancy, like this is conch, not kind of this shape, like completely this way round. I think we can see. Also, I don't know, we have
They have it on
decoration,
the Damaru drums. This certain type of drum, they have this shell.
Yeah.
And so if you stole a quarter
Right.
of one of those shells, like a quarter's worth of a shell, because the shell was like a certain amount of money. So if you stole something that had a quarter's worth of value, of one of these shells worth of value, then that was like actually stealing. So basically, like if you stole like a couple pennies or something from somebody, then that didn't count as stealing. And so then we were talking about the value of a quarter of the shell. So it's definitely more than like maybe like a quarter or a dollar these days. So basically, like if you steal $25 from somebody, that's like, or $20. Like if you take somebody's $20 bill, they're like, where did my $20 bill go? Like that's like, you know, but maybe if you steal like a quarter off their dresser or something, like, it's not like you really stole that much. But if you take their $20, they're like, hey, that's much.
So actually, this I think I did counter the research. I think at the Kenji and Nimajan they're talking. So I think they said maybe talked about dollars. I'm not sure. That times we don't know exactly the Buddha time how much currency, you know, but.
So Kenshin Nima Gyaltsen was studying this because it was like an official like currency that maybe you could exchange it for gold or silver or something.
Yeah, that time, yeah. Huh?
Yeah, so like these shells were actually worth like gold and silver and stuff. So if you account for inflation, Kenshin Nima Gyaltsen came up with how these might be valued at $25 each, like a quarter. A quarter of one of these special kinds of shells was maybe equivalent to modern $25.
Ina yang da zo chi hyo da di da tere da di da ting chang da nian ga chi hyo di da di cha di yo re ji ka la ni ci rang ge dang ju ba na yi re ji tam be ki chu du ya yin bi na re ji kan di ke na ne da ma zu branch wa taxi ken ki chi go cha di yo sa re ting chang tu zo la.
So then, in terms of the Dharma practice and also in this world, and particularly today, the branch of not imbibing in, not becoming intoxicated is very important.
Sangye ke kandizong yoris lavina, jetang da di kavla da chang, anda osam no bambina. Chang Tungyang Rawina, Jiggy or one row, the last two, don't mean that Karji was na Rasewa, say Rasewa.
So, in the Buddhist teaching, if we follow the Buddhist teaching, for somebody who is a lay practitioner, it was acceptable to have like a little bit of alcohol, like a small glass of wine or something. However, the purpose was to not become drunk, inebriated. That is the vow.
That not only alcohol. So Karsenanga Chang Done Rasewa Teletene, Nazuk Semdela. Rangi ki sem de negi mari songdo sem jondo gres joling of hakugdo munga ki rasebina kondo ma sabi yore tene ko muhimbat umana yi chagmedo tene repasibo yo mari tene ta tega no yi koran ki ta ko herap ji go herap de la tene herap de mewa changdo bo tinu ko karchi go gre Karchia yo marisiaka, mato landor kidney labdoa. Landor kidney the herap seati cario lavina, matuk jula, tene chick. Herap tike, tene mato landor di henoda. Benan Chunjung roji savina da, for example, be Chunjung roji shavina, that been a dangerous no water tella de such a Dujaino, such a yo mare, co such a telling Yakatsa yores, Yungro. In a ras and no guitar, such a danger in the Hakumua. What you know, you color Sayano, which is some Bambina young. G. Ramazeli Kabla, Kalati, Candisa Govatan, Tiji Kalati, Bennett, that's something of the Kalati, Yabuma. Ningbando, tini na sag marwa ta thog da wi jire ro higri ro sam garwa yine ya ko rasebe ka ola kharsa ta hirab yo marwa tini ko jik thog da wa sa se gire bena kala ning ban wa sa se gire o tindi indu ta tindi ke regla semlan tun do ke ta de alcohol ji wo marwa ta ta sam da mda yo wa o da tindi ji kan sa wi na ya sem tun do ya sa na tini jik rang la no wi yo sa de la tini chu cho nyam le chi ya la no wi yo sa de is.
So, in particular, alcohol is not just the only thing that intoxicates. So this includes all intoxicants. And so when we become intoxicated, for instance, drunk on alcohol, then our afflictive emotions grow. You see it, people who, get drunk, they get angry, they fight, they get desirous and stuff, and they desire things that they normally, wouldn't if they, weren't drunk, and they lose their intelligence and their mindfulness, their discriminating awareness. And so normally, we might know what we should do and what we should avoid. However, when we become intoxicated, then we lose that wisdom, that knowledge, that discrimination. And so, for example, there might be like a place that is like a bad place, that's dangerous if we go there. And so normally, if we're not intoxicated, we would never go there. We're like, oh, I'm not going to that place, it's dangerous. And there's no reason to go to the dangerous place. But then if we become intoxicated, drunk or intoxicated on other things, then we might think, why haven't I gone to that place? Maybe we should go to that place. And we end up going to a dangerous place because we lose that discrimination. The same thing too with food. If we are normally not intoxicated on, alcohol or other things, we might have a lot of discrimination, be like, oh, this is good, healthy food. But when we're intoxicated, we might not be thinking that way. We might see some food, it might be old, it might be bad, it might, make us sick under normal circumstances. But because we're intoxicated and we just become hungry, and, people get the, overcome with intoxication, then they just eat it, even though the food is could even be like poisonous, because they're not discriminating. And so, especially these days, we need to understand that this includes all kinds of intoxicating substances, not just alcohol, but there are many different types of substances that intoxicate these days.
Okay, so that is that the ngazo zawa hedang tene ta yana je se ya tere wa tene ta jamru do ba hyungye khorang ngoni na ngazo da genyen la ko pasga wa ro genyen de la tene ta ngazo na chik zumbi genyen nanga zumbi genyen yongdo zumbi genyen yorwa tene tene chik na chik zumbi genyen se na chong ti na nga na chik song de is yang da nanga he zung yang ji tangi nga na ne tene ji song ro tene zong de is tene de yongzo zong bi genyen zong de da cha sang song de ta de depending chirang so song mo pa ya is ji nga chon de la meng won chon tene song la ba yo ma le nga tene ji song bin yi zong chon sam na ya ko is.
So then, when we take these vows, when we go for refuge, then it's important that we hold in our mind which of these vows we're going to take. And so everyone who is going to take these refuge vows, if they're not ordained as someone else, as kind of a more elaborate level, they will become what is called an upasaka, a lay non-celibate practitioner who upholds one of 5 vows, few of 5 vows, or all of the 5 vows. And so we need to think, which of these 5 vows are we going to uphold? So if we're going to just take, for example, I'm not going to steal, or I'm not going to kill, or we think, okay, I'm not going to steal, kill, or lie, or engage in sexual misconduct, but maybe have some intoxicants, or, or if we're going to be a lay practitioner who upholds all the 5 vows, not kill, steal, lie, engage in sexual misconduct, or imbibe, become intoxicated, all 5. We should hold which of the vows we are going to take.
Well, maybe I didn't explain sexual misconduct, right? That they chill love you summer. That's all Carsina, Kate Shotella, Tintezon, Dapo Sumba, Sundua, Tinechi. Machine Gillian, Choayo, Jimayo, the Tindi Latine, and that Carsagore, Sarcosina, do your mothers.
So, also just for a clarification about sexual misconduct, there's different, kind of subcategories with sexual misconduct. One very clear way of engaging in sexual misconduct, though, that we should be aware of is that when people are in a monogamous relationship, do not, engage in sexual activity with one of those people. So that's like adultery. So to not engage in that is one clear example of sexual misconduct.
Not happen. In a dance, something got so young, young name of Degi or that young name of David Gablayan, Taco. Penanimani, those some do that contain a new name Taco, or what you need. Tending that number, short term number here, or Yam 24 hour, that the Zogana, young, Tambo number shoot in it, in the summer.
So furthermore, if you also, there are people that engage, for example, there's the practice of nyungne, this fasting practice where one takes the vows not to engage in any sexual activity for like 24, or in particular in the nyungne, it's 48 hours. And so it's sexual misconduct to engage in sexual activity when you or someone else has taken those, like a 24-hour vow, 48-hour vow not to have sex, or, that type of thing. So that's also included in sexual misconduct.
That the Jebena and
So there is a nyungne practice that is coming up in August, and so really it's important, and it's one of the main parts of the practice is to uphold these kind of vows of these commitments to really focus on the practice. And so in such a context, it's really important to be very, precise and uphold those vows. So then now for the actual vow ceremony of giving refuge, then you should imagine, if you're taking refuge, the refuge vows, that it is imagine Drupal as the Buddha, the actual Buddha Shakyamuni is bestowing the refuge vow.
Okay. So you have some questions?
Oh.
Drupanla, if we have taken refuge through the formal ceremony, as you're going to bestow, how do we know when to renew it, or do we have to renew it?
broken cha yuji ma de sang dos wa ina ta renegotiate na broken tini yang renegotiate re la go re
Yeah, countries.
tini yang jo hyu hyu ya yo wa
Uh-huh. So if you break it, then you can come back and renew it. Like, so there might be like subtle ways that we like kind of aren't keeping the vows very well. But the elaborate way, for instance, if we purposefully kill like another human and we rejoice and, you know, we really break the not killing vow, then we would, if we want to take the refuge vow again, then we would find somebody to take the refuge vow with again. But kind of like small breakages, you know, we can like confess and keep trying to uphold. But if we do a major breakage with all aspects of the non-virtues complete, then we really should find someone to take the vow with again. The tamshedu. Ani kari bardu. Okay. So just to kind of, in this refuge vow ceremony, we imagine the ground is consecrated. So we imagine, may the entire surface of the earth become a pure land, free from stones and gravel, as even as a level palm, and smooth in nature like lapis lazuli. And then holding a stick of lit incense between joined palms, we recite the invitation of the Buddhas that comes from the ancient realization narrative of the girl, this girl with faith, Mande Zammo. Protector of all sentient beings without exception, deity who destroys the endless hosts of Mara, perfect knower of all things without exception, victorious one and retinue, please come to this place. Visualizing that they have actually appeared, offer them seats. I offer you these pleasant and wide lotus flowers, as extensive as billion worlds, 100-petaled and with pollen beds, so please be seated comfortably. If you wish to elaborate, recite the 7 branches from the prayer of excellent conduct. If abbreviated, recite whatever merit I have gathered through prostrations, offerings, confession, rejoicing, requesting, and beseeching. I dedicate it for the complete enlightenment of all beings. And then we all pray. So imagine this. Please turn the wheel of the Dharma of the greater and lesser vehicles and the teachings common to both according to the dispositions and mental capacities of sentient beings.
So that was the 7 period. The short one is the page 7.
So we did the more elaborate prayer earlier this morning, and so then right now on page 7, at the bottom of page 7, we will recite this prayer.
Together.
Whatever merit I've gathered through prostrations, offerings, confession, rejoicing, beseeching, and praying, for the sake of the enlightenment of all sentient beings, all this I dedicate.
Okay, so now, so repeat after me. So actual the refuge ceremony. Lopong,
Lopong,
Gongsuzo,
Gongsuso,
Dameng,
Dakmeng. So say your name, Eric.
Xiejiwe,
Sejiwei,
Tundene,
Dudene,
Songde,
Zongde,
Chisi,
Chisi,
Changchob,
Chanchu,
Ningbola,
Ningbola,
Xieji,
Shiche,
Parto,
Bardu,
Gani,
Gangni,
Namjincho,
Namgichok,
Sanjela,
Sanjela,
Japsuchiwo,
Kyapsuchio,
Chakpatang,
Chakpadang,
Tewa,
Jawa,
Namjincho,
Namgichok,
Chula,
Chula,
Japsunchiwo,
Kyapsuchio,
Cho,
So,
Namjincho,
Namgichok,
Gendula,
Gendunla,
Japsunchiwo,
Kyapsuchio,
Da,
Da,
Chisi,
Chisi,
Changcho,
Changchu,
Ningbola,
Ningbola,
Cheji,
Seche,
Parto,
Bardu,
Japsum,
Kyapsong,
Zimbe,
Zimbe,
Genyento,
Genyendu,
Lopongje,
Lopongje,
Songduzo.
Zongduso.
Okay, so now 2 times.
So then repeat twice in English. Master, please heed me.
Heed me.
From this time
From this time
until attaining the heart essence
until attaining the heart essence
of awakening,
of awakening,
I who am called,
I who am called,
so then say your name, take refuge in the Buddha,
take refuge in the Buddha,
who is supreme among human beings.
who is supreme among human beings.
I take refuge in the Dharma,
I take refuge in the Dharma,
supreme among that which
supreme among that which
is free from attachment.
is free from attachment.
I take refuge in the Sangha,
I take refuge in the Sangha,
which is supreme among assemblies,
which is supreme among assemblies,
until attaining the heart essence
until attaining the heart essence
of awakening.
of awakening.
Master, please accept me
Master, please accept me
as a lay practitioner who upholds the threefold refuge
who upholds the threefold refuge
and observes a few precepts.
and observes of your precepts.
Master, please heed me.
Master, please heed me
From this very time
from this very time
and until attaining
and until attaining
the heart essence of awakening,
the heart essence of awakening.
I who am called,
I who am called,
now say your name, Eric, take refuge in the Buddha,
take refuge in the Buddha,
who is supreme among human beings.
who is supreme among human beings.
I take refuge in the Dharma,
Take refuge in the Dharma,
supreme among that which
supreme among that which
is free from attachment.
is free from attachment.
I take refuge in the Sangha,
I take refuge in the Sangha,
which is supreme among assemblies,
which is supreme among assemblies,
until attaining the heart essence of awakening.
until attaining the heart essence of awakening.
Master, please accept me
Master, please accept me
as a lay practitioner
as a lay practitioner
who upholds the threefold refuge
who upholds the threefold refuge
and observes a few precepts.
Da tira wangi tabi no lab grace. And the channel so leg so lab ina da tingola. Da few seconds wa. 5 seconds. The channel so da kari simgi some bangladesh 5% now news.
So then, Drupon, who we perceive as the Buddha, is going to say, tap and snap. And so that means this is the method. And then in response, we are going to say, Lexo, how wonderful. And so, but before this, we should think, which of these 5 vows of refuge are we going to take? The not killing, not stealing, not lying, not engaging in sexual misconduct, and not engaging in, not becoming intoxicated. And so we should hold that in mind.
how many?
How many? Which ones?
Not their choice.
So it's choose your own vow adventure. You can take one of them. You could take, 2, 3, 4, or all 5 of them.
Okay, so I give you a couple seconds, so you're thinking about, okay? O Tavino.
Lexo.
Okay. Take here, come here.
So then,
Take refuge.
the people who are, they tang tambo ro? So the people who are taking refuge for the first time, do you have scissors?
Behind that, behind there.
The people who are taking refuge for the first time with Drupon, you can come up and Drupon's going to take just a little tiny bit of your hair.
Okay.
Not a major haircut. Just a symbolic.
So put your draw, you say Tola.
Chola. So say chola.
So 1 second.
So this is a symbolic gesture of your renunciation.
So this is your control zone, your name, so you can write down everything.
So, konshok.
Control zone, you keep that money. You get to it. Control. Setting somo.
Setting somo.
Yeah. So put your draw.
So essentially, Drupon is saying, would it please you for me to cut part of your hair? And you say, Chola, I would be delighted. So would you like to become a renunciate and a follower in the Buddhist tradition? And you're saying, I would love to.
Okay. Control. London here up. Here up.
Loden?
London.
Loden Sherab.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
To the door. Control here up palmo.
Sherab Pomo.
Long hair. Yes. To put to the door.
Lozon Sherab. Oh. Konshoku.
지원도 동대로 남주도 권여 선반노요 매제지 유저도 몸몸매 인도 점으로 많이 벌리다 숨죠 마지바나 지리 제와냐 몸이 봐요 공나 공나 점 페로와 저 제와도 동세로 남제도 냐면 되고 내제제와 비와 근데 양도 남마다 되면 주제 배랑 서는 남제가 다도 그냥 고모니로도 저지 저와 남제들 렉상로 생각을 미바다니 제 제행이 제행을 말로 그 번나는 데는 저 그냥도 진짜면 이제 그냥 잡을 남이 이제 로베 동도 몰랑지도 와서 담기 텐데 로바이고 텐데 로바이고 담기는 세계다 로바이고 오다 당보디니 다 고메 제나랑가 저 통다 몸보 요르와 이나야다 단다 직텐 디기나래 디치타 고치마래 디치 용양 피치들랑가 저 정보 넘버 휴가들라 되니 개 침부인 바타 베개 침부 니마 다 침부 투투 our own life to me something which is
네.
못해라. 가서 다다와 또나 가서 무체나고 무체나한테는 기도 인상 야나 야부노다 같은 이 친구가 고려한
May my samaya with the glorious Guru remain firm. Whatever aspiration prayers have been made for the sake of sentient beings, from the great Samantabhadra Vajradhara on down to the kind root gurus, may they all be swiftly accomplished.
Good. So now dedication.
Short. Um, Turn to page 24 in your prayer book. By the virtues collected in the three times, by myself and all beings in samsara and nirvana, and by the innate root of virtue, may I and all beings quickly attain unsurpassed, perfect, complete, precious enlightenment. May the teachings of the great Takumpa Ratnashri, who is omniscient, Lord of the Dharma, Master of interdependence, continue and increase through study, practice, contemplation, and meditation until the end of samsara.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Thank you.